I had taken a rhetoric of social movements class, and we had talked a lot about freedom riders. While we were riding from Nashville to Alabama, I was thinking so much about what it must have been like to be on a bus, driving on the highway, knowing that something is coming. And so to go there meant a lot to me because I felt like I could feel it a little bit more.
So for us, we don't invite people to come to a museum. We invite them to come to experience a part of history.
When you don't experience it in the space, it's so much easier to distance yourself from it. And when you can actually go somewhere and you stand here and you say, like, people stood here, you stand in certain places and you say, like, at some point I wouldn't have been allowed to be in this space, being Black as I am. And that puts everything in perspective. It means something different than reading it out of a book, reading it online. I'm like, so many of those stories I've heard like 15 and 20 times. And I didn't really feel it until I went on this trip. And I could say, you stood here. Some of these monuments, this bridge was still here. Like, you know, these things still stand. And I think that's the necessary part of it, and especially for Vanderbilt students who may not be aware of the history. When you understand how close it is, when you understand, like, this is all America and America still stands, but this is what it used to look like. And in some ways, this is what it still looks like. It puts everything in perspective. It changes the way that you feel about your access and the way that you move about the world and how you think about where you go to certain places. Like, as you guys continue on these trips, or as I hope you continue on these trips, every time you see a new city, it's just like a little bit more, it's like another piece of a puzzle. For me, it was just saying, okay, what do I do every day to help somebody else do something? Because you're steady here looking at all of these museums and all of these experiences where they did something for the next generation despite not even knowing them. So I had to think about that a lot, and I brought that with me back to Vanderbilt as well. Like, I would want to tell students, you need to do this because it's going to enlighten you in a way that you couldn't have expected. It's going to enlighten you in a way that you're not going to get from Vanderbilt's campus. And it's going to give you the things that you need to continue moving forward, to keep perspective, especially for students who didn't grow up in Black neighborhoods and aren't as aware of their history. It's imperative for them to know it or to be exposed to it in some way. And this is the perfect way to do it. Please continue to support the BCC so these trips can continue to happen.